Genshin always had this tendency where they made the Archon Quest the most epic and enjoyable as possible. The Archon Quests are full-voiced, filled with epic cutscenes, and of course have cool characters within the story. However, as how much I love the Archon Quests, I would argue that a lot of the world quests are a lot more interesting than the Archon Quest itself. Inazuma is the biggest victim in this case because the nation is known to be the worst nation ever released, but behind it lies some of the most interesting world quests ever. Like Enkanomiya. Enkanomiya's lore have some of the most fucked up story yet so interesting. Not only that, they have a book that literally became the first ever lore bomb and one of the foundations of the world of Teyvat. It's so mind-blowing that it even foreshadows Nivellet's appearance, the three realms of Teyvat, and this is also the first time we learn the existence of Dragon Sovereigns and learn the truth behind Celestia. Ever since Enkanomiya, everything starts to unravel from there. We start to learn more about the heavenly principles from the Archon Quest, we learn about the dragons, we learn more about the Archon's power are stolen from the Dragon Sovereigns, and so on and so on. It seems that Enkanomiya is the first time we ever set foot into the Dragon Sovereigns and the truth behind Teyvat category, and since everything is just progressing from there, it's not a surprise that Natlan also talks about the dragons itself. However, what makes it more interesting is that Natlan's main world quest also talks about how the first Pyro Archon, as a human, also defeated a dragon before he became the Pyro Archon, and more than likely, this dragon is the Pyro Dragon Sovereign. In today's video, I'll be recapping the main quests of Natlan, which of course includes our little Tepelisaurus here, and I'll mention some of the artifacts or book lores as well if necessary. Typically, I would separate the quest and the theory section, but the thing is, this quest line is long, and unlike the Archon Quest where I can skip through a lot of the unnecessary parts, the World Quest has a lot of necessary parts, and I'm not going to read pages of scripts because the main story itself is already 8 pages long and the prologue is already 2 pages long, and I'm not adding more than that. I have college and final year project to finish, please cut me some slack here. With that said, I'll be making a part 2 where I'll cover most of my theories in that video instead, so be sure to stay tuned for that video by subscribing and hit the notification bell. Anyways, here are some disclaimers. This is a leak-free zone. Please don't comment anything about leak content, they're not yet confirmed, and I would personally refrain myself from using leaks for my lore recap and theory crafting. My traveler of choice is Ether, so I'll be referring to the traveler as he in this video. Also, since we can name our little buddy, I'll be referring to the little buddy as the name I gave him, Terra, to make it easier for myself to recap this video. Before we start, don't forget to give this video a like and comment so the channel can be noticed by the algorithm. I'm juggling my time as a college student, an artist, and video editing, so a little bit of boost will help this channel a lot, and that lets me know that I'm doing a good job. My name is Neko and I make lore and commentary videos on this channel to keep you company. There are 3 main world quests for Natlan, but we don't get to start them immediately as we first have to get our little buddy while do the Archon quest. As we are about to enter the Children of Echoes, we are transported into this little realm where a mature Tepelisaurus defends a baby Tepelisaurus from abyssal monsters. After we defeat them, the traveler tries to reach out to the mature Saurian, but then outwards suddenly appear on top of the traveler's head. Stretch out your hand, chosen of dragons. Reach out to me, join strengths, and then witness all, and thus liberate all. The traveler reaches out to the dying Saurian and turns into a Saurian himself. Using the power of the Saurian, we then help the little buddy, freeing it from its spear. Because the Saurian injures its tail from falling down, Paimon covers it with a Wait, why does it move like that? Why does it move like that? It's bell drum, it wriggles its body, it's so fat, Paimon asks the baby Saurian, please stop moving like that, I can't recap the video like this. Paimon asks the baby Saurian how it ended up in that barrier, but of course the Saurian don't know how to answer. Since the baby Saurian doesn't have anywhere else to go, nor does it have any home, the traveler and Paimon decide to take the Saurian with them. The traveler is also curious with the words he heard earlier, so it might be a good thing to have the Saurian with them to find answers. From here, we get to name our new companion. By the way, if you name it after kaijus or Godzilla, it actually reacts very happily from those names. If you name it after dragons, it'll be very sad, and this includes Nivellet as well. Quaddle is also part of it, which is weird because his name was never mentioned until we do Natlan's quest, so that's definitely not a spoiler for people who are about to name it without knowing about the world quest. Oddly, even being a human, the little buddy also doesn't like the name Shabalanke, but that's understandable given how important his role is in the quest. quest. But for some reason, Nibalang and Apab do not count, so that's odd. Anyways, I named it Terra, and from here, I'll be referring to our Saurian body with that name. With that, we set our journey from there. During our journey, we met a researcher from the Saurian Relic Association named Manku. While Terra and Paimon played together on the side, Manku explains to the traveler that Terra is bestowed upon Flamelord's blessing. And this is where we first introduced to the name Shield Quaddle. We know this because of the red mark on Terra's horn. According to Manku, Saurians with this mark have greater powers than any ordinary Saurians, and this mark is not something that ordinary Saurians can bear. However, this blessing was something that only dragons of old can bear, and Saurians in this day of age cannot withstand it. It's so bad that even the Night Kingdom and the Way Ups refuse to accept these Saurians because of the power this blessing has. As a result, these Saurians during their growth are usually driven mad or killed by this blessing. Manku suggests to leave Terra to the Children of Echoes, but of course the traveler refused to do so because Terra is now our companion. Manku suggests if we want to save Terra, we have to bring it on a pilgrimage to the volcano, which seemingly this is the volcano he meant. Legend has it that warriors of old bring a token that's split in two to this volcano in order to cleanse their Saurians from this blessing, and only then will the Night Kingdom accept these Saurians once again. No one in this current day of Natlan has ever attempted this, and since the traveler is an outlander who is not bound by the rules of the 6 tribes, it would prove how the inscriptions of ancient relics and scrolls remain true until this day, since it is important for Manku as he is a researcher. In exchange, he will help the traveler to find these tokens to save Terra. The traveler accepts this proposal. After Manku leaves, the traveler tells Paimon about what happened and suggests trying to find these tokens while Manku does his research. With that, this is where the introduction ends, and we have to do 2 main world quests to trigger the 3rd one. You can start wherever you prefer, but I'll start in the Sulphurous Veins first because it is the nearest place where we found Terra. The quest starts with us meeting with a bookworm and a storyteller named Titu, who spouts some scary stuff at the beginning of the quest about the shadow pin is about to fall. Titu suggests we visit the People of the Springs instead because it's dangerous in the mines, but the traveler still wants to visit the place regardless. As a storyteller, he has been trying to find inspirations to tell new tales to his tribe, but recently he noticed something's wrong with the shadow pin when he is strolling for inspirations in the mines, with the 2 of them floating on the air. Just in case, what you see on the screen now is a shadow pin, and there's 3 more of this with smaller sizes. Now, what are these for? Typically, people of Natlan would say they are used to pin down the remnants of the Volcano Lord if they want to talk about this to the children. But in reality, what lies below it is none other than the Abyss. There's actually a collectible story about the Volcano Lord and the Shadow Pins, and basically, the story tells about a salamander named the Volcano Lord that was sealed by the Shadow Pins thanks to the work of the Children of Echoes and their way up. Considering that these stories tend to have some relevance to the lore, and since it's a fairy tale, there is real truth behind this story, and I'll talk more about this later. I highly recommend you to read it if you have the time. Anyways, the traveler offers to help T2 with this problem because it's the Abyss that we are handling. Also, this bug face is adorable and pinchable at the same time. Since we agreed to help, T2 will get a story to tell to his tribe's people. With that, he agrees, and this is where the first act of the world quest officially starts. Shadows of the Mountains. For some reason, there's no flashy title, but whatever. As we approach the first pin, we see a familiar golden light that emits nearby it. If you don't remember, this is the same light that appeared during our first meeting with our little buddy. According to T2, these things are called iridescent inscriptions. These inscriptions are apparently the language of ancient dragons when Natlan was ruled by them. These days, only the inscription remains across Natlan, but no one understands what they meant. Since these inscriptions have logistance within them, the people of Natlan can work with them to some extent despite not being able to understand them completely. Considering that Terra is a special Saurian, he is able to understand and feel what the inscription is, but since he can't talk, all we can do is follow him. This will be a theme throughout the quest, but our job here is to use these inscriptions that will meet across the quest by collecting their shattered pieces to seal the shadow pin back to the ground, and the Abyss will of course try to resist it. I just want to say, at one point you have to touch the inscriptions that are stuck underwater, but I suppose I got too comfortable with Fontaine that I forgot we can't dive anymore. Since we're no longer in that nation, I missed Fontaine already. While this is irrelevant, T2 also mentions that our deeds will be remembered throughout the songs and history, and perhaps even surpass stories by Sunhaj. If you don't know, Sunhaj is a revered storyteller and one of the heroes from Masters of the Nightwind that fought alongside Tenoch. I swear, the talking stick lore gets more and more relevant each passing day. We finally put 2 shadow pins back to the ground, and according to T2, we just have to check on the last pin and everything should be easy from there. But of course, this is a world quest that we are doing. There's no way it's that easy, right? No, don't worry, nothing really happened, so yeah. But instead, T2 told us something that might pique your interest. He starts to mention Rhea. Remember the story about the Volcano Lord and the Shadow Pins I mentioned earlier? If you already read it, then you might be able to understand most of the context better, but if you don't, that's also fine. According to T2, Children of Echo's mountains used to be more normal. I don't know what he meant by that, but let's assume they used to be more triangular. But everything changed during Rhea's disaster, which safe to assume should be the Cataclysm. The Night Kingdom is the source of Natlan's ley lines and is extremely delicate. During this period, the Night Kingdom was severely damaged and the totems grew dim, making the way ups unable to hear the tribe's people's cries, which we do see this happen during the Archon quest when we were trying to save Kachina. As these were happening, 2 Rhean soldiers blazed upon mountains of Children of Echoes, and they were the source of the problem. Unfortunately, the leader of Children of Echoes back then, Sunjatta, was fighting with Tenoch, and the tribe's elder, Traore, had to contend with the Abyss and the 2 Rhean soldiers. The Saurians and the tribe's people have exhausted their blood, sweat, and tears to figure out how to use the iridescent inscriptions and eventually made their progress to create the shadow pins with the solid phlogiston and the inscriptions, which is what we see now. The Elder was the first to enter the Dark Pit, and with heroic words, he said, "If the Abyss should ensnare death, let us flip the script. With death and sacrifice, we shall ensnare the Abyss." After he said that, the other brave warriors followed him, and after much sacrifice, they finally beat the Abyss and sealed it beneath what we see today. The Children of Echoes who mine in the mines knows that the phlogiston near the stone nail must remain untouched. So, if you read the Volcano Lord story, basically, the Volcano Lord is the Abyss. The description of the Volcano Lord also matches with the Abyss, since the story described it with black and purple color, which definitely aligns with the color that the Abyss always associate themselves with. It's also not a surprise if the book also refers the Volcano Lord as the 2 Rhean soldiers as well. What a coincidence, definitely not something that Understarter did not foreshadow during the Simulanka quest, am I right? Like, you know, she says something about fairy tales, talks about the real life story and all. Anyways, after T2 tells us about the story behind the nails, the abyssal influence somehow becomes stronger and has started to cause tremor around the huge shadow pin. Again, this is connected to the Archon quest because we do see the Abyss start to triumph over the Night Kingdom. Everyone takes a closer look to the center of the area and is attacked by the Abyss. Not only that, souls of past heroes who were tangled by the Abyss also attacked us. After their battle is concluded, the shadow pin above falls crashing down, revealing a hole that seems to be covered by the phlogiston. Suddenly, a voice rings, causing T2 to worry that the Rhean soldiers might start to emerge from the underground. Perhaps the iridescent inscription within the shadow pin felt something is about to happen below it, that it crashes down. To prevent this from happening, everyone decides to enter the hole. The voices grew stronger, and as expected, the iridescent inscription comes out of the shadow pin as if it was responding to something. Along the way, we see a stone tablet, which according to T2 is a crossing line, which implies we'll be crossing a line to a great danger. This stone tablet is actually really long, but here is the summary. The tablet was left by Children of Echo's tribe elder from 500 years ago, Traore. In it, he left 3 blessings. One is for, surprisingly, the 2 Rhean soldiers named Zapania and Irizar, who in truth are soldiers who lured the Abyss to this hole. While they don't want to be remembered, Traore eventually wrote the truth anyway in the tablet. The second is the warriors who fought alongside him. May one day be free and may their death have a meaning and have a place to return. The Elder mentioned in this tablet one figure that will be extremely important throughout the quest, named Waksaklahun Ubahkan, or also known as the Sage of Stolen Flames. We will learn more about him in the next quest, but long story short, if you want to pause the video for later, this sage is a dragon who stole the seed of Phlogiston from the leader of dragons and taught humans how to use Phlogiston. If you read some sources from NPCs that he is a human, no, he is a dragon, confirmed in the Obsidian Codex artifact set and the World Quest later. Finally, the final blessing is to those who read the tablet. He warned us that the situation is dire and the fortress made by blood and flesh cannot stand forever. With that, he blessed us and wished for our victory. Learning this made T2 realize that all this time, the Kyrian soldiers being the source of the problem is a lie. Considering that the soldiers don't want their deeds to be remembered and referring themselves as cowards, rogues, and thorns, it makes sense why people nowadays think of them as the problem. Also, little theory, perhaps these soldiers fled during Kyrian's cataclysm, hence why they want to be remembered as that, because they forsook their nation during the catastrophe that happened. The only way for them to feel remorseful and perhaps to atone their sins is to solve the catastrophe that is happening in the Children of Echoes. Again, that's just a small theory, but still really sad if that's the case. The gate opens, and here we see what the game refers to as stone chambers of shifting crystal pillars. We see two Kyrian soldiers, Zepania and Irizar, crystallized within the stone, sealed alongside the abyss. The voices are getting louder, and it is clear they're coming from these soldiers. T2 told us the way to seal this place is the same way we seal the smaller shadow pits. Use the inscriptions, find the shadow pieces, and seal the shadow pit. Terra found the inscriptions, and from here, we fight the abyss that is trying to resist the sealing. I just want to say, if you don't have any other options for exploration, I recommend using Kachina here because she is the only character right now that can climb Phlogiston. And most likely she'll learn as well when she's released or when you're watching this 5.0 onwards. Some of the Phlogiston rocks here are unclimbable using normal characters, and it's clear that the game wants you to use Natlan characters for this quest. As we find all the shadowed inscription pieces, we approach the seal once again and hear the voices also wanting to be sealed. The gang sees behind the huge inscriptions a war that is happening. The war, until this day, fighting the abyss and the sulphurous veins, is still happening. Saurians are whimpering in pain. The warriors constantly resisting, blood and flesh emerging, bloody and gory battle that is still ongoing. They're trying to resist the abyss to walk through the iridescent inscriptions. Not gonna lie, just reading that makes me shiver and sad at the same time. Thank goodness they don't show that in a cutscene or illustration. I would probably cry looking at that. While sealing the pin is the way to go, according to T2, this is not the first time someone came here to seal the iridescent inscription, because according to the tales in his tribe, this has become a cycle. Once the abyss is about to leak out from the mines, someone has to come down to seal the inscription once again. Of course, the Traveler and Paimon don't want this to continue and suggest to unseal the inscription to fight them directly. With that, we fight Zepania and Irizar, who are desperately trying to get the seal back intact. Not gonna lie, the fight is weird since we only fight Zepania and Irizar, but I suppose it is for difficulty purposes that they don't include Rift Walls as well. As we finally defeat the Abyss, the Traveler and Paimon, not including T2 and Terra, are transported to the Night Kingdom. An entity that refers to itself as the beast with fur like that of night, speaks in words that are honestly a bit hard to understand, but basically it thanks the Traveler and Paimon for freeing the warriors and the Kyrian soldiers from their misery. They then bid us farewell, but warn us for fearful instigators and those who were ill intent. As we head back, T2 and Terra await for our arrival. T2 told us that the Abyss is completely purified. While the Traveler and Paimon were sent to the Night Kingdom, they were surrounded by light, as if the warriors within it were waving at them, T2 and Terra. The two Kyrian soldiers are now gone, seemingly resting in peace now that they don't have to be a warning for people who come here again. Considering that these soldiers are Black Serpent Knights, perhaps just like Halfdan, their souls now rest in peace and fade away. Now that all of that is done, T2 thanks to the Traveler, Paimon, and Terra for their help purifying the Abyss, promising them that he will write stories about their heroic deeds. With that, this is where the first Natlan's major world quest ends. The second world quest takes place in the People of the Springs Underground. We met with a girl named Chikia who suffered a terrible back injury, and apparently she went to the underground in order to search for an elixir that can cure all injuries. From the way she describes it, while the quest is in People of the Springs, Chikia actually hails from Masters of the Night Wind, and she found out about this elixir after searching through scrolls within her tribe. We also learn from an NPC outside of the stadium and near the Masters of the Night Wind entrance that this tribe has a lot of doctors, so perhaps we can expect Citlali to be the premium Diona, Chichi, Layla, and Charlotte to some extent. I hope not, dear lord. Anyways, we also learned that Chikia used to live with Dictomisaurus, so it's safe to say that Dictomisaurus also hails from Masters of the Night Wind. Once again, another theory of this channel proven correct. Man, I love this already. With that said, the Traveler, Paimon, and Terra are interested in this elixir and decide to help Chikia to find it. This is where the second act of the world quest officially starts. Tale of Dreams Plucked from Fire. Wait, this one got a flashy title but not the previous one? Damn. During our exploration, we delve deeper underground as we see more lava across the land, eventually meeting a closed door and a phlogiston engraving. According to Chikia, phlogiston engravings came from the days where Natlan used to be ruled by ancient dragons, and humanity during that time lived in primitive lives. However, all this changed when someone by the name of Waksaklahunubahkan, or widely known as the Sage of the Stolen Flame, stole the seed of phlogiston and taught humans how to use them. That is the basis of phlogiston, and the phlogiston engraving we see now is the byproduct of it, where it's a language that can be read by modern people of Natlan by using phlogiston. Oddly enough, it might take a whole day for Chikia to fully decipher the engravings despite claiming to be able to use phlogiston, but of course the Traveler steps in because they are able to use phlogiston despite being an outlander. The Traveler reads the phlogiston engraving and it basically gives us clues to open the door by searching for unveiling scripts. Continuing about the Sage of the Stolen Flame after they pass the door, he usually called as a madman or lunatic because he stole the phlogiston from the dragon. But he still did great deeds, like he is the one who created the floating island we see on the sky in the People of the Springs, or also known as Upper Sanctum, or its other name, Hanan Pacha. It's called the Upper Sanctum because no humans nor Saurians can access to such a place. In order to get there, we have to pass the trial created by the Sage of the Stolen Flame, and this is currently the trial that we are doing right now. Once we do that, we will be able to find the elixir to get to the Upper Sanctum. According to Chikia, the reason we have to go to the underground is because the spirit door and the spirit way that leads to the Upper Sanctum lies beneath this land, and we need to find 2 more unveiling scripts to open the spirit door and the spirit way. So we did just that and found 2 other unveiling scripts in form of iridescent inscriptions. As we are done, the spirit way and the spirit door leading to the Upper Sanctum has opened, and we ride the spirit way to reach the upper island. While this is somewhat irrelevant, apparently according to the scrolls from Chikia's tribe, a lot has attempted this trial but lots were failed and packaged with such wording: swimming across liquid phlogiston, or basically swimming across lava. Yikes. This is also something interesting that Chikia told us, but apparently Masters of the Night Wind have something similar to spirit waves but in the form of wind that can blow them high up to the sky. So we can expect some wind current when we arrive at Masters of the Night Wind in the future. As we arrive at the Upper Sanctum, Chikia mentioned that some people don't believe that a mere human can create the Upper Sanctum, and believe more that the Sage of the Stolen Flame is none other than the dragon. Chikia herself doesn't agree with this notion, but spoiler alert, the Sage of the Stolen Flame is of course a dragon. It is confirmed later within the final world quest and the Obsidian Codex. This is unfortunately something that a lot of people believe as well, whether in-game or players, but I can assure you, Sage of the Stolen Flame is in fact a dragon. In order to find the elixir, Chikia said that according to the scrolls she read, there might be some mechanism nearby that can be activated to find the treasure itself. As we try to find them, we find something none other than the iridescent inscription, which weirded Chikia out because according to her, they are more ancient than phlogiston engravings, which we did learn from the previous quest that this exists during the ancient Natlan when it was still ruled by dragons. As we touch it, more words come, saying, "Those that will receive the flame go to the monument where its seeds reside." As we move onward, we see another inscription, this time saying, "Those that will receive the flame complete the trial and head to the floating island." Basically, these words say to continue onward and complete the trial, and that's what we did as we followed the iridescent inscription that guides us along the way. As we ride the spirit way for the trial, a new and larger island appears out of thin air, and this is in fact the center of the upper sanctum. As we reach the center, for some reason it stumps Chikia because they are supposed to feel the spirit of the Sage of the Stolen Flame. Speaking of the devil, a new voice suddenly can be heard, same like last time. This time it says, "Stretch out your hand, chosen of reaches out to me. This is the final trial. With this, light up the temple within you, and the fire within your heart." But oddly enough, only the Traveler and Terra can hear this, but not Chikia and Paimon. This could only mean one thing: the person who talked to us when we met Terra, and of course at the moment, was none other than Waksaklahun Ubakan, or of course, the Sage of the Stolen Flame. In order to receive the gift, we have to finish the final trial, and that is to battle. Oh gosh, Nilu's Bloom team is so good. After we beat the trial, man, that Nahida Dome looks so ugly in there, it kinda ruins the moment. The water has risen, and this is the final gift left by the Sage of the Stolen Flame. A hot spring infused with phlogiston. So basically, there's no elixir that can cure all injuries, and Chikia has been lying to us that she knew all this time that the hot spring is the gift left by the sage, not some sort of elixir that can cure all injuries. But this hot spring is used to grant anyone who can complete the trial to wield the power of phlogiston. Unfortunately, Chikia, despite being someone from Natlan, cannot wield such power because of her back injury, that is an injury caused by the abyss, and she had been dealing with this since she was a child. What about her living with Ictomisaurus then? Well, that's because Ictomisaurus are weightless, meaning they are as light as a feather. Because of this injury, she is unable to use phlogiston, no matter how much she tried. This is the reason she tries to come here in the first place, in hope to perhaps be able to use phlogiston. However, since Chikia was not chosen by the Sage of the Stolen Flame, she is unable to use phlogiston regardless. Perhaps this is the reason why the Traveler is able to use them ever since they entered Natlan, because they were chosen from the very start. It's also quite an irony for Chikia because even though she knows how to use phlogiston theoretically and even teach them to the kids, she is unable to use them herself. It is a pattern that I noticed for Masters of the Nightwind because they have doctors but are unable to find cure for abyssal diseases. Not only that, in Chikia's case, she knows how to use phlogiston theoretically but is unable to use them herself, which definitely aligns with the cryo symbolism. Regardless, Chikia thanked us for bringing her here, and she wishes us bright future while she'll stay within the upper sanctum hot spring a bit longer. The Traveler also wished the best for Chikia, that one day she'll find a way to use phlogiston. With that said, this is where the second major Natlan World Quest ends. This is a small theory, but she did say during the quest that her back pain mysteriously got significantly better ever since she met the Traveler. While her pain is not fully healed yet, it's definitely safe to assume that the Traveler's cleansing power definitely helped Chikia during our journey. It's just that the Traveler did not realize it. Definitely a fun little detail, I have to say. Now here comes the final quest, where for some reason when I try to find guides for it, it says that it will appear immediately after we finish the two aforementioned world quests, but for some reason the fancy title just appear out of nowhere while I'm doing a world quest in the Science of the Canopy. While Science of the Canopy's world quest is important, it's actually not that relevant to the main quest that we are talking about right now because it's mostly related to the Night Kingdom, which doesn't really get a lot of mention in this video nor in the main world quest. Either way, this is where the final Natlan world quest officially starts, between Pledge and Forgettance. As time went by, the Traveler, Paimon, and Terra were unable to find any clues about the token that they needed to set on the pilgrimage to cleanse Terra's Flamelord's blessing. So they headed to Children of Echoes to find Manku. As we arrived, we found him talking to Pakal, the current chief of Children of Echoes. Pakal told us that the Traveler became the talk of the tribe because Tito told everyone about the Traveler's recent deeds regarding to the Shadow Pins. Manku updates us that the first token is found under the ruins near the Children of Echoes, and in order to get there, they have to gain acknowledgement from Pakal, who is very skeptical of this idea. According to Pakal, it's been a very long time since anyone ever attempted this pilgrimage to free their Saurian from this blessing, or in this case, Pakal refers it to a curse, Many have failed, which leads every tribe to abandon the custom. There is a trial that needs to be passed first in order to obtain the token, and while the trial is intended for the warrior, but also for their Saurian companion as well. While the traveler is not part of the tribe, Pakal is unsure whether this rule applies to the outsiders, but he also doesn't want the traveler to die in vain and suggests the traveler to leave Terra with the children of Echoes instead. Of course, if we do that, Terra won't be able to grow up and will be driven mad or die because of the blessing. The traveler and Terra decide to do the trial regardless, and with that, Pakal grants us the permission to embark on this pilgrimage to the volcano and find the token. But first, we have to battle Pakal to pass the trial of a witness. We won quickly, and Pakal granted us a token of accomplishment, or what Wangku refers to as the Talisman of Waksaklahunubahkan, the Sage of the Stolen Flame. We then learn a bit more about the Sage of the Stolen Flame and the first Pyro Archon. Pakal told us after the Pyro Sovereign's death, the Pyro Archon then revived from the flames. The Sage and the Pyro Archon then brought each token with them from the volcano, and whoever gets these tokens may enter the cleansing fire to purify them for all curses and calamities. Considering that the first Pyro Archon was of course the first Pyro Archon, he is also the first human in Natlan that learned how to use Phlogiston. After those little lore bits, Pakal then blessed the Traveler, Terra, and Paimon for their safe journey. It's mostly for moral support, but if you ask me, the word choices here are certainly interesting. Not in a terrible way of course, but in an epic way if that makes sense, since Pakal gave us words that are very supportive, knowing that the journey we are heading on is an extremely dangerous one. We headed to the ruins near Sulphurous Fanes, from where the Traveler placed the talisman given by Pakal, and the trial officially starts. There's a purpose behind this trial. Since the Sage of the Stolen Flame stole the seed of Phlogiston from his own kind, this caused him to feel guilty, and he hoped that humans and Saurians could get along eventually. This trial is clearly made to test the bonds between the humans and their Saurian companion, and this will be a theme throughout the quest. The first trial is to... Wait, no way, you can't control the body now? Stop, I can't deal with this. This is too much power. Look at him walking, look at him wriggling like that, the noises he made. Of course, because one is given this huge power, one must abuse such power to enjoy the sight of one's most beloved husband. And damn, Terra really just roasted Paimon a little bit there. Gosh, this is such a huge benefit given here. Anyways, we finished the first trial. With Manku left behind, he wished us the best of luck. We reached the next trial, and as we finish with it, an iridescent inscription awaits us. Swear upon this, Xbalanque, the one who ascended to realms above to protect all beings, who bestowed seeds of flame to bring light to all beings. When your descendants return from the flames, none shall stop them. After we hear that, we arrive at an area to which the game calls Hall of Parting Vows, where the first time ever we see a huge mural of a human and a person with a dragon head, or what the viewpoint refers to as Mural of Sworn Pledges. These two are none other than Xbalanque on the left and Sage of the Stolen Flame or Waksaklahunubahkan on the right, each other holding a token. Considering that the iridescent inscriptions are things we saw when we first visited Natlan, during our journey in Sulphurous Fanes and in Upper Sanctum, these inscriptions are words from none other than that sage, just as we spoke earlier. Not only that, when the sage said chosen of dragons, there are two possibilities. Dragons here could either be chosen by the sage himself or chosen by Terra. Or another little theory, it could mean that the chosen of dragons and dragons here could refer by the sovereigns, because the traveler can wield 7 elements. And these elements, of course, came from the dragon sovereigns. But that's just a little theory, I'll talk about it in my next video. Either way, we are of course the chosen one, and the sage told us to separate ourselves with Terra as the next trial, we have to do them separately. We do just that, with both having a completely different trial but regardless still the same premise. Terra has an easier trial while the traveler has a literally life-threatening trial. Oh my god, look at him! Look at him! Look at him! Gosh, this little chungus is so adorable, I cannot. After completing the trial, we found 2 more murals, one from our side while the other is from Terra's side. The sage told us to reach our hands and witness what he called the sin that will obliterate all. What we saw, just like what the traveler said to Paimon, is a bit hard to explain, but to summarize, there's a huge black dragon that attacked the world, burning everything to the point one envoy's glow shattered and smashed to smithereens as die under last leaves of the severed white tree. The ancient battlefield rages on as the white tree almost dies. The game also mentioned we see something else, but it's not us who sees it, seemingly referring to Terra who see the other mural, which makes sense because the other vision we see is an entire city experiencing annihilation, and a human along with the eye-pierced big black dragon falling from the sky, but in the end, the human rises from the black dragon's heart, wreathed in flames. I would like to decipher this more, but we'll talk about this in my next video. After seeing the vision, we meet Terra from the other side and stand in front of the first mural. A path has opened to somewhere under the lava, and this is where the final trial begins. Chosen of dragons, proceed. Eliminate enemy from the realm beyond. Then you will be granted entry to the final paradise. The game reminds you to be prepared because the battle is quite tough, so be sure to have your strongest team ready and perhaps get some of your food buffs and recovery food ready. I have to say, entering down there is something. As you enter the lava, everything went black and on top is like a light shining down as if you're going down to hell or something. Now that I think about it, we kinda are. Because after we reach the golden light, we are literally transported to a volcanic area that looks like hell. It's even called the Catastrophe's Edge, and hell is actually quite catastrophic. I like how Paimon still has the time to become a comic relief here because even for me, trying to pronounce the sage's name takes plenty of retries and I don't even know if I spell his name correctly. Anyways, this place is where the Sage of the Stolen Flame and Xabalanque, or as we know at this point, the first Pyro Archon, made their pledge. Now, let go and let the future of humans and Saurians be as it may. Only the enemy cloaked in the shadow shall not be forgiven. Chosen of dragons, prove yourself by facing the mighty foe, that you may ascend the sacred mountain from this place. After saying that, the final trial begins as our mission is to defeat the hordes of Riftwolves and Golden Wolf Lord. The Golden Wolf Lord becomes invincible, but then Terra suddenly powered up by the Flamelord's blessing, causing him to carry us along the way to beat the Wolf Lord. But it seems that its power is something that Terra cannot use at will. But either way, it's better for him to not use it often for his sake. After defeating the Golden Wolf Lord, we are transported again to another dimension. Oh, why would you look at that? It's me and Alhaitham's wedding feast. I mean, it's really beautiful scenery over here. Chosen of dragons, come forth unto the final sanctuary of my people. Worship and receive, you who would protect all beings. Worship and receive, you who would bring light to all beings. Come forth, chosen of dragons, come forth, for the inscribed hour has arrived. The inscribed hour has come. Come forth, chosen of dragons, present the amulet. In return, you shall be permitted to set foot on the sacred mountain. The traveler touched the final monument covered in iridescent inscriptions. We see another vision. The great dragon's eyes were split in two by a human, which then later split into 4 pieces. One is given to a silver dragon's white claw while the other is given to the resurrected corpse. One buried beneath the monument, while the other was swallowed into the belly of a headstrong one. A white disc appeared beneath your feet, the other obscured in the shadow. The great wings as you see the pupils on its wings. Voices can be heard. Glory! Glory! The entire empire, O Natlan! Someone picked up the disc upon the empty throne, and then looked at us. As Paimon wakes us up, one of the tokens appeared beneath our feet. We have found one of the 2 needed tokens, and with that, this is where the third and final major Natlan World Quest of 5.0 ends. If we open the chest, we found 2 important items here. One is a Shattered Night Jade, which is used to visit the trial in the Night Kingdom, while the other is an item called the Cornerstone of Stars and Flames. Anything related to the Night Kingdom deserves its own video, but I'll talk about the Cornerstones of Stars and Flames later in the next video because fun fact, this item is not a quest item, but a talent ascension material, equal to a weekly boss material like a Lekina boss and the all-devouring Narwhal. I took 20 to 30 minutes to take screenshot of my handsome man here because I thought we won't be able to visit this place again, but spoiler alert, we can actually visit this place again. Just go to the stairs and once again, you'll be transported to Catastrophe's Edge and then this place. Well, it doesn't matter because this place is beautiful. I love my Alhaitham and this place will be me and Alhaitham's wedding venue. We then go back to the surface, meeting Manku, who told us that the name of the token is called Golden Entreaty, an item handled by the Sage of the Stolen Flame himself. Manku has no idea where the other token might be, but from the vision we saw, the other token is in a place known as Natlan. According to Manku, Natlan is in the ruins of an ancient city across a narrow stretch of water north of the Flower Feather clan. We actually get to see this place ourselves, albeit only from a distance. Based on Manku's description, it is confirmed now that this place over here is none other than Flower Feather clan, while the area ahead of it is Natlan. Just seeing it from here does look very majestic, and fun fact, Natlan is perhaps one and only city that has ever existed in Natlan because at this current day, people of Natlan lived separately amongst different tribes. The stadium is not a city, but considered as a landmark. Kachina actually says it herself in the stop-motion animation they released a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, because of Children of Echo's rules and from the Saurian Relics Association, Manku cannot help us to go to Natlan because some members of the association once went there for a commission but then vanished without a trace. Ever since then, the association forbade anyone to go there to reduce casualties. Paimon and the traveler thank Manku for his help, and Manku wishes us good luck for our journey and removing Terra's Flamelord's blessing. And with that, this is where the whole questline of Natlan's Major 5.0 World Quest officially ends. Y'all, lore is loring. I have so many ideas and theories on what to expect next, especially Natlan, because based on what the description and the vision we saw, we might even fight or see Xabalanca's tomb itself. I am honestly very excited for the new version because to me, Natlan is a very interesting area because according to one of the NPCs in the stadium, there's a courier from Science of the Canopy who went there to send a package to Natlan. If that's the case, then there's a chance that there's still people living in Natlan until this day. Alright, since we finally reached the end of the quest, this is also where the video officially ends. I'll make the part 2 where I'll cover my theories, so be sure to stay tuned on that. With that said, thank you so much for watching this video. Please consider giving it a like, a comment so the channel can be noticed by the algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Ciao, mata!